Kyle, your other favorite hero. Oh, sorry. I am a mess today. You're probably wondering, hey Kyle, why do you have headphones? Why on earth would you bring headphones to a live stream? It's a super good question, and it's actually one that I'm going to answer right now. The reason I'm bringing headphones, and I'm going to switch really fast. I'm just going to go to this one. Nope, this one. This one. This one. All right. Well, nope. All right. You're just going to look at me like this for a little bit because Bert didn't set up there's his phone, so there's no normal scene for me. You know what? I'm gonna set up a normal scene for me because there we go. I'm gonna do a little live react video. I've already seen the video, so it's not gonna be that live, and it's gonna be interesting. I'm trying to apply a little bit of. I'm trying to kind of practice what we preach a little bit here at the Heroes Journal. I'm trying to take a little look at. Sorry, I'm getting everything set up. I was a little late today, as you guys probably know, considering that I started late. So I wanted to take a moment and look at some of the productivity content that's kind of already out there, because one of our goals is to kind of shift the narrative of shame-based productivity, and really focus on a more positive narrative. And everyone is telling me I'm late. I guess the positive narratives, it doesn't apply to me. No grace over there. No, I'm just kidding. It's great to see everyone here once again. Sorry I'm late. We had some tough technical difficulty. Well, actually no, I was late. Bert set up great. I was gonna blame it on Bert, but it's not his fault. But we did set up a new scene, which is what you guys saw at first, which will be a live reaction to a productivity video that I found on the internet, that I wanted to make a few notes on, because not everything is bad that the guy says, but I wanted to say something about it. Miriam is super productive today. Congratulations. Having days like that's amazing. So that's super awesome. Proud of you. Cool. I'm reading back through all the comments. Cool. Well, I know. Everyone's so mad at me for being late. I'm sorry. It's the solo show's tough. You have to harness a level of enthusiasm and excitement for life that I need definitely a lot of coffee for. But without further ado, let's jump into this live react video. I think if this was a clickbaity YouTube video, it'd say like productivity business owner reacts to productivity video. I think that's what it would be. I don't know. Maybe how about this? While I'm setting this up, let's think about what the title of this clickbait video would be. About to show you like a hyper productivity video. What do you think the clickbait title of that video would be on YouTube or Facebook? And Sky, don't miss Nick too much. I mean, I'm still here, right? I'm still here. Don't make me feel like I'm not doing a good job. I'm just kidding. But yeah, don't be too excited that he's coming back. Nick will be back tonight, and I think you actually might get a solo. You're gonna get a solo live stream with Nick on Friday, because I'm taking a little bit of a break, weekend getaway this weekend myself. I'm going to Phoenix this weekend because my best friend Trey got engaged to Carly, who you may know as the hero who is doing a bunch of really, really cool stuff with like she did like that video. She's helping finish up. She actually finished all of the acceptance letters for Kickstarter yesterday. She does some hero service. She's incredible. It's all fantastic. So without further ado, productivity. I'm going to put my headphones on.
Hi, it's Robin Sharma, author of The Leader Who Had No Title, founder of the Titan Academy, and welcome to this mastery session. This mastery session is all about a method to times 100, to increase by a factor of 100 your productivity. And we live in a world right now where productivity, and in particular,
I want to put a note out there. I don't think anyone needs to be 100 times more productive. That's my first critique. I think that's a lot. Yeah, I would say that's probably the first kind of negative narrative in here. It's that, like, I don't know what the value of being 100 times more productive is, but maybe that's just marketing.
what I call exponential productivity has never been so important. Here's a brain tattoo for you to consider. An addiction to
brain tattoo is really fun. I'm gonna rewind it because I stopped in the middle of his I stopped in the middle of his thing, but we're human beings, not human doings. I like that. It is high pressure, but yeah. So brain tattoo. Let's listen to his brain tattoo.
has never been so important. Here's a brain tattoo for you to consider. An addiction to distraction will be the death of your creative production. Here's another brain tattoo for you to consider.
Two for one.
We live in a world where focus is more valuable than even your intelligence. I mean, if you watch most performers today.
Whereas I don't disagree with either of those sentences in the sense that, like, distractions are probably not the best thing in the world. But it's the idea that there's no grace involved in either of those brain tattoos. Is kind of the part that bothers me about that. A brain tattoo does sound painful, but it's vivid. You definitely are. Anyways, yeah. So I purposely picked a guy who was really intense, by the way. I tried to find a little bit of the antithesis of the goal setting world, because I wanted to talk a little bit about how there are maybe potentially some diamonds in the rough with the some of the things that he's saying. So I don't want everyone to be completely against it, but I think that the tone and the perspective on this is a little bit aggressive.
You watch most people in business today. You watch most people in your community today, and they are walking while checking their social feeds. You know, they are addicted to the entertainment of video games. They are spending the best hours.
Also, he throws shades of video games for no reason. I don't know why he did that. That was like, that part bothered me. I was like, why video games? Why specifically video games?
Their days watching dancing cats on YouTube. I mean, it is incredible right now how consumed people are with their tiny white screens. And yet, if you look at the A players, if you look at many of the most creative and productive people on the planet, they are doing and working in some.
Also, I hate the way that he classifies people. That was probably my biggest takeaway. Is he calls people like A and B and C players. And I was like, geez, man, like, these are human beings, but yeah, that's tough. And dancing cats are fine. I don't understand why he's so against dancing cats. But my big caveat so far, this deep in, is that he is someone who is explaining a certain type of success in a certain environment, and then attributing that to like the general, just people in general. And whereas there's probably some people in the world out there who can gain some level of enthusiasm or excitement around this type of content, there are people that exist that see this and they're inspired, but to just like give this to everybody is a little bit, I think, bad. So
such vastly different ways. Because if you want to achieve the results only 5% achieve, you've got to think and produce and behave like only 5% of the people on the planet. And the best people on the planet in terms of creativity and productivity are not spending their finest hours addicted to distraction. They are doing work that matters. They're not doing fake work.
Work that matters is an interesting sentence, because there probably is work that matters to everybody. But I can't decide if he's saying that he's the one who gets to choose what matters, or if he's saying that if it matters to you. Either way.
They're doing real work. And so in this mastery session, I want to walk you through a number of protocols that will really help you multiply your productivity in the finest of ways. And I'm going to get right into the first one, which is the 90-90-1 rule. Now, I've become pretty well known for this. I've taught it to a lot of people who attend my annual event, the Titan Summit, and they've used this one tool alone to create vast amounts of productivity that have scaled their businesses, scaled their impact on.
I do want to toss this out here. I'm not showing this video as a, this is by no means like me endorsing this material. I just wanted to talk about the type of productivity content that is out there in the world. I forgot his name, but he has like almost 1 million subscribers, and there are a lot of people out there who are everywhere in between. So this is definitely one of the more extreme ones that I found. I watched like 45 minutes of productivity videos this morning. But yeah, caveat, not endorsing this guy's platform. So yeah.
In the world and created world-class lifestyle. So I really invite you to pay even more attention to the 90-9-1 rule. And what's that all about? It's pretty simple, like any great rule. For the next 90 days, spend the first 90 minutes of your workday on your single most important opportunity to move the needle in your industry. And
I don't hate this rule. I don't know if we can all take a moment and kind of like if we could take a step away from our feelings about everything that he said thus far. If we can just pause for a moment. It sounds a lot like eating your biggest frog. And it also sounds like what Nick and I have been talking about a lot recently, and it's probably annoying at this point, but about environmental design and building an environment around eating that frog first thing in the day is that is a really important thing, I think, for I think just reframing the successes that we have in the day. And whereas maybe a part of it is like he says, like making the biggest strides in your industry, I think that you could also do like the biggest strides in just like your daily life, if you think about your life as your industry. But so yeah, it's pretty much eating your biggest frog. But yes, I agree with Amy. Everything I do is important. That is very true. But there a lot of us do have frogs that we have to kind of accomplish right away. Yeah, and Stacy, you're 100%. Like that 100% is valid in the sense that it doesn't apply to every type of job because things change so much. Okay, yeah. Well, Dave, you're right. 90% of your work, 90 minutes of your work day. That's yeah. We have to have a little bit of grace in the way that we look at this because there is maybe some nuggets of truth that we can find amidst everything going on. Tacey, that's a good question.
Repeat that again with great respect because it's so important, I believe, to your productivity. The 90-91 rule is simply for the next 90 days, spend the first 90 minutes of your workday on your single most game-changing opportunity. Because what happens? A lot of us get to work and we spend our best hours on our least important activities. We get to work and we start checking our social feed. We get to work and we check our text. We get to work and we chit-chat at the water cooler about the latest TV show that we watched last night. And research has shown that the morning hours are when you have the most focus, when you have the most energy, and when you have the most willpower.
I don't think that's like for everybody. I think there's some people who are night owls who get their best work done at night. But yeah, I would say that the most important tidbit from this is recognizing when you're most productive, and then trying to use that time to get those really difficult tasks out of the way. Because I mean that's part of like the story, right? You have to have an obstacle, and a lot of the times the tension is what makes the story really, really interesting for a lot of these heroes. And having the right kind of mindset or giving yourself the best environment to overcome that obstacle is by no means shame-based. So that I would say that is probably a nugget of truth is knowing yourself. I would just be worried about only thinking it could be the morning, because there's a lot of these like productivity people that believe that you have to get up at 3 a.m. in order to to be successful. But there are hundreds and thousands of people who might be most productive at like 9 p.m. Who knows? So I would say just really like that's more of the getting to know yourself piece of that.
And so you want to use that first 90 minutes, that is game time, that's show time. The second piece of technology to create exponential productivity is what I call tight bubbles of total focus. Your environment is so important. And if you look at
environmental design, and he's about to do a trigger warning, so I'm sorry. Trigger warning involved right here because it made my inside turn. So just know that that's about to happen.
Performers or C producers, they really don't pay a lot of attention to their environment. And so they get very distracted. There's lots of noises, their phones are going off, maybe there's news in the background, maybe there's messy environments all around them, maybe there's toxic people. What I'm suggesting to you as the second piece of technology to really 100 times your productivity is this: install environments of tight bubbles of total focus. The way I run my work life, on certain days, I am very hard to reach. And I challenge you with great love and respect, be very hard to reach during key times of your week. I mean, I see a lot of people, and it's not judging them, it's just observing them. Every time their phone rings, they check it. Or they have, these loud notifications. So they're constantly being distracted. And we know what the research says. The research says we spend 2.1 hours a day in distraction. And it takes 21 minutes to refocus your focus after you've been distracted. So if you are being distracted by notifications, checking your phone, checking your Twitter feed, checking your Facebook feed, looking on Instagram, checking all the different platforms, that is going to destroy your focus. So the second piece of tech,
buzzwords, patronizing platitudes, of course. I personally like to not have notifications on my phone. I think that it's nice. I'll leave my phone places if I want to be like 100% kind of available and aware of my surroundings. I don't 100% hate that. I don't like the extremes of like the having to like almost, I don't know, demonize being available to the people that you care about. I think that's not 100% the right way to go about it. But yeah, maybe there's moments, there's a part of that that's good, but I think that as David so aptly put it, Jennifer put it, buzzword platitude. Yeah, I mean that's definitely what's going on here, but I think that there might be there's probably like a semblance of importance there. I mean, I for one, like, I don't get a ton of moments of clarity and focus, so I definitely get myself that I need those moments of clarity, but obviously it's not always possible. But yeah, I think there's maybe parts of it.
Technologies create these tight bubbles of total focus, and the way I do it is I have certain days that I label as creative days. And on those creative days, I actually go device free. And on those days, I'm very hard to find. And on those days, I'm in total solitude. And on those days, I go to certain places.
Josh asked, I have ADHD, so literally everything distracts me. Any advice? You know, I'm not someone who has ADHD. Maybe I do. I don't know. I'm non-diagnosed if I do, but so I'm probably not the best person to give advice in that sense. But I would say that a large part of any like productive process is getting to know yourself, and trying to really be honest with yourself on the types of things that you're trying to accomplish on a day-to-day basis, month-to-month basis, yearly basis, so on and so forth. And being more concerned about the progress versus the specific things that you're getting done. But we did do, this is my plug, we did a integration with a channel called How to ADHD. That's just what it's called on YouTube. And they are fantastic. We are big supporters of them. So How to ADHD is a great place to go and get some nice like vocabulary around some of the stuff that you're feeling, as well as just kind of some encouragement that though you may not think in the same way that everyone else thinks, and you may have distractions, there also is probably like a superpower somewhere in there that allows you to do things better than other people might be able to because of ADHD or because of the way you are. So but yeah, I would say that the biggest thing, and this is the whole purpose of this entire live stream, is focusing on creating a positive narrative about the things that we're doing and and our productivity. Because once again, though he may have some good points, all of it is drenched in this shame and being better than other people and comparing ourselves to A people or B people. And at the end of the day, we're all heroes and we're all trying to accomplish things. So yeah.
I call them my Menlo labs, just like Edison had his Menlo lab. And these places are very minimalist.
Again, environmental design.
And there's no one there. And that's where I do my best work. So install these tight bubbles of total focus and create these Menlo labs where you're completely distraction free. And then you will find your brain will drop from the beta state into the alpha state, where you will do your best work and get your best ideas. The next piece of technology that will help you create exponential productivity in your work life so you truly impact the world around you is choose your peer group really, really well. There's a lot of excellent science coming out and a lot of excellent research coming out that says
this I don't hate. And I'm not saying to go and like throw shade at your current friends. I think that this is the value of the hero's quarters. Right? It's about the people that you spend your time with, and one of the things that we get as a community is like the people that we can spend time with, and getting to be allies to one another and to learn from one another and get to chat like this in these live streams and watch this stuff together and recognize what's good and what are the things that we can take and what are the things we can throw away. And yeah, I would say that this part, if you take away all of whatever he's thinking about being like a super productive person or not super productive person, the Heroes Quarters is an incredible opportunity to fraternize and to be around people who are more focused on the story they're telling than the things that they're getting done, because it's the story that matters. It's progress over perfection. No one cares about being 100 times more productive. People don't care about how many commas are in their bank account. It's about being an ally to one another and to being the best version of themselves and being a hero. So anyways, that's my point. That's my piece.
The number one way to improve your behavior is to surround yourself with a peer group or social circle of people who are also playing at the level you want to be playing at.
Playing at the level you want to be playing at is like tough. That's a tough way to put it. Comparison's the enemy of joy. I'm going to keep saying that. So
if you want to be a high performer in terms of your productivity, populate your life with high performers. Now here's the science behind it.
Just you.
In the brain, we have something called the mirror neuron system of the brain. And it dates back to thousands of years ago when we were living on the savannah. And this mirror neuron system allowed us to model the behavior of the dominant people in the tribe. So if someone figured out a tool or figured out fire or a better way to survive, subconsciously, this system in the brain allowed us to model the behavior. And I think this is pretty fascinating information. Now here we are in the modern world, and what happens? Subconsciously, we are modeling the behavior of the people we spend most of our time with. And so,
which I agree with. I agree that we are, I say this a lot, we are the sum of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. I agree with that. That is just something that I agree with. Not empirically, just like, is it qualitatively or qualitatively? I believe with that. Now, the high performers part, not a fan of that. But imagine how much better our lives are because we get to spend so much time with other heroes who are able to be so kind and helpful to one another.
So if you are around victims, you will start behaving like a victim. If you are around people who are mediocre performers, you will subconsciously start behaving like them.
Gross.
If you're around people who gossip, who are not A players, who do not produce very much, you will subconsciously, because of the mirror neuron system in the brain, start performing like them. Why else is it important to surround yourself with a peer set or a social orbit of A players? Emotional contagion. And that's a scientific phenomenon that simply says we pick up on the emotions of the people that are around us. And so if you are around a social circle of people who are inspired, people who want to do great work, people who want to be ultra productive, people who want to be innovative, people who are relentlessly optimizing their work, their thinking, their creativity, just being around them will allow you to adopt their energy and their ways of being.
Hey, Tanya. This is like kind of like a little bit of a toxic productivity video that I'm kind of live reacting to. I'm not saying, and by the way, I'm not agreeing that you become the person. I think that trauma counselors, part of becoming a trauma counselor is the education and learning how to learning how to cope with the fact that you're hearing these terrible things and being able to be helpful. But it's actually really funny because my stepmom Mad Dog has her PhD in psychology, and the best advice that she ever gave me was you never go to a counselor who doesn't have a counselor, because these things do have an impact on being around people like that. But I mean, not people like that, but like having to wear the weight of hearing these traumas that can happen to people. And the terrible things that can happen in this world. So yeah, but that part aside, I think that if you focus on the positivity side of surrounding yourself with positive allies who are there to see the best for you, and not focusing on outcomes and if you're only focused on outcomes and results, it's gonna be tough to build relationships, meaningful ones at least. But if you focus on like the kindness side of things and truly caring about one another, I think that you can get a lot further, and that'll ultimately make life a little bit happier. Especially because if at the beginning of this, James said something that I really resonated with. And I didn't read it, but I didn't read it out loud. But a lot of times people associate productivity with happiness. And though like productivity can create a level of organization to your life, which can lead to happiness, it's not the by all end all part of happiness. It's about I have by no means the equation for happiness. But I think that a lot of it is the other part, which is like the purpose and the people that you spend your time with and all of those things. So, yeah, having people that you can love and adore is a very important piece as well. Productivity is not 100% of the gambit.
And then the final technology for you to create exponential productivity is what I call learned minimalism. So, minimalism is often considered as a design philosophy, right? It's like very stark, very sparse, sometimes industrial, lots of white, not a lot of things. It's, like you go into a boutique hotel and, it's designed by Philippe Starck, the great French designer, and it's very minimalist. What I'm encouraging you to do with great love and respect is to be ultra productive, adopt the mindset of learned minimalism. Now, I've worked with a lot of the most creative and productive people on the planet. I've worked with billionaires and CEOs. I've worked with true titans. Here's one thing I've observed in them. They understand that the secret to genius is not complexity, it's simplicity. If you look at a Picasso of any industry, if you look at a great artist, they didn't fill their work days and their personal lives with a lot of things. They filled them with a few things. I guess what I'm suggesting to you is one of the secrets to iconic...
This is a big kind of argument across like all industries right now about whether it's better to be a generalist or to be a specialist. I don't know which one is the correct answer. I have no answer to that. I think there's probably a level of truth to the idea that if you can be specific, you're probably going to be better at that specific thing. Whether that leads to a better life, I have no idea. But yeah.
Productivity is be monomaniacally focused at being world class at just a few things. And if you look at any great artist, any great entrepreneur, any great business builder, any great author, any great humanitarian, they were monomaniacally focused on one thing. They were minimalists. And so what I want to leave you with is this. Maybe this year, rather than having 50 projects that you want to achieve at the highest level, maybe pick 3. This year, rather than having 1,000 Facebook friends, maybe go deep and develop 3 really great relationships. This year, or maybe the next few months, rather than trying to read 20 audiobooks, 50 ebooks, go to 5 courses, why not focus on 1 course? And
this I don't hate. But this is more like, in my mind, this is more starting small and being okay with the fact that doing anything is a success rather than being like the best at that one thing. I think he gets a little muddled right here. Yeah, he gets a little muddled at the end here. But I do agree with the idea of like, don't overwhelm yourself. It's one of the reasons why the task list at in the Heroes Journal is only 3, because it allows you to really think about what the 3 most important things are. Now we're getting rid of the numbers on the left so you can have a longer to-do list. But anyways, yeah, I would just say he gets a little muddled here. It's kind of confusing, but alas, there's probably something nice. There's probably something helpful in there. And then you're right. Da Vinci was all over the place, so that kind of is a point against him. But
one audiobook. And why not study one great autobiography? Maybe it's Isaacson's autobiography of Steve Jobs. Maybe it's Nelson Mandela's autobiography. I'm going through the autobiography of Martin Luther King Jr. right now, which actually wasn't written by him, but it's called the autobiography of Martin Luther King Jr. I am encouraging you to really adopt this thinking protocol of becoming a minimalist. Even your home, fill it with just a few things, right? Even your work life, just a few projects. Even your clients, just the highest leverage clients. And especially
yeah, you're right. The autobiography thing is kind of interesting, but I think what he's trying to say is that if you're able to mimic people that are great in your field, then you're going to ultimately become better at it. I think that's what he's trying to say. But you're right. Great fiction is incredibly inspiring. It's actually funny. I can't read fiction before bed because I can't sleep. And then the highest leverage clients, that's tough. I mean, they're in business. I mean, I don't know if anyone heard about the Pareto principle, that 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your clients. Whether it's true or not, I mean, obviously every client is just as valuable.
Especially your days. Focus on just those few priorities that when you roll up your sleeves and go deep in them and invest what I call the trinity of your assets, your focus, your energy, and your willpower on those few things, they will allow you to birth art into the world, which will allow the world to call you world class. Hi, it's Robin. I invite you to subscribe to this.
Alrighty. That was interesting, to say the very least. A lot of like elitist stuff. I think I lost some people in here. I hope that those of you watching still don't think that I am like endorsing that at all. I am not. I just wanted us to kind of sit through and think about the thing that I just like I want to think about. So our mission here is to help people tell a better story about their productivity. It's one of our missions. Feel like the hero of their lives, tell an epic story, live an epic adventure, all of those things. I can take these off. That is our mission here. And I felt like as it's just Kyle and you and Kyle, me and you, however you want to say that, I wanted us to kind of take a second and look at the thing that we're actively competing against. Like, this is the thing that we stand against. This is the thing that we believe is wrong with the space, and it creates a lot of shame, and is really one of the reasons why we had to create the Heroes Journal, was to compete that. Hey, Nixon here, Nixon on YouTube, but. Yeah, so I wanted to take a moment and look at the thing that we're truly trying to stop. Alora missed something. Yeah, you missed Kyle live reacts to toxic productivity. So if you want to see that, it's definitely an interesting thing. But yeah, that dude does reek of ableism, and it's pretty tough. But I would say that because I watched about an hour of that type of content this morning trying to find the right video, and I had to take a nap before we started because it was exhausting. So yeah, hopefully you guys like that. I know it's a little bit different than the Q&A. We've done that would have been the third Q&A in 3 weeks, so I figured I'd try something new. If it seems like, so Tacey said, would rather hear the rambling, which is good feedback. But if you guys like that type of, okay, so we don't like this type of content. All right, no more of this. This is done. But anyways, so we didn't like that. That's fine. We're learning something new. I did watch one video. I watched Thomas Frank to try to I don't know if you guys ever heard of Thomas Frank. He's a lot more positive and kind about productivity. And he said it this morning. He said someone on YouTube is going to try to tell you that waking up at 4 a.m. makes you the most productive person in the world. It does not. Being able to write an entire novel in 3 hours doesn't make you the most productive person. None of these things, none of these external results are what makes you a hero. What makes you a hero is willing to recognize a threat, able to recognize an obstacle, willing to see yourself accomplish the things that you truly want out of life, and really just going for it and being an ally to one another. And yeah, I think that we a lot of times don't realize that we actually subconsciously may agree with that guy more than we care to admit, with the way that we treat ourselves. And it's something I'm working on a lot too, and being kinder to myself about the things. I was waking up at 4:45. I was waking up at 4:45 for 8 days straight, and then I woke up at 7 one day, and I was really hard on myself. I was really kind of angry at myself for not keeping my streak alive, but in reality, the world kept spinning, and I was able to continue to be productive even though I wasn't up at 4:45 a.m. So, yeah, I think that we subconsciously might treat ourselves more like this guy treats everybody, than we care to admit, or at least I do. So it's good to get the taste of the disgusting side out, so that when we see ourselves doing it to ourselves, we can tell ourselves to stop it, and to be more positive, and to be kinder to ourselves. Nick asked a good question. How many IME? I already did this. IME letters are 100% done. Wax stamped, packed, acceptance letters, ready to roll. I'll read some comments here. That could be the lit major in me who enjoys critically analyzing content, right? I was a history major in college, so we definitely did some of that as well. But we more were analyzing people's actions, which I guess is probably pretty shamey in itself. But let's see. We got some comments in here. Melissa said, I'll watch anything you guys do. Well, I still want it to be good. I don't want it to be gut-wrenching. Why does there need to be a most productive person? You're right. I mean, there probably doesn't. The world doesn't need the most productive person. There's so much comparison in results, and I think that that's probably one of the negatives to that as well. Sorry, I'm trying to I'm not going to read all the comments. I'm trying to get through. David's drinking his coffee out of a mug that the HQ inspired him to get. Wow. That's exciting. I think that's really exciting. I've been slacking on the on check again. I'm popping into the heroes quarters, so I didn't see the post of Lucy with her journal, but I need to go look at that now. I need to go see that. Melissa said, I need to be more productive than I am being right now. Just because we have progress to make doesn't make who we are bad. I think that's the other part, right? It's just because maybe there might be days where we could be more productive, doesn't mean that we as people are bad, or B people or C producers, right? That's the part that I really hated, was that he categorized people based off of their outputs, and I'm this is gross. Rachel said that YouTube liked the React, so maybe next time we'll just do just on YouTube, and then people can opt in. I helped someone struggling as a first-time journal user last night on Discord, and they felt positive when we finished chatting. I felt super fantastic about that. That's amazing. I'm pinning that comment. That's so like inspiring to hear. And that's why we build these communities, is to give people an outlet to talk about using their journals and trying to really approach their best hero self. So that's super awesome. Michelle, congratulations. That's amazing. Each person has their own path. Nobody's path is the same. Everybody's best is different each day, so comparison isn't going to help anybody. I love it, Ebon Hawk podcast. I love that. Melinda said, my HJ quest is literally related to doing everything to stay alive. So I take having the productive work days that I've managed to maintain while on this quest as a daily win. That is a win. And I love that. It's like being able to put things in perspective of our quest and making that more important, and focusing on that is much more important. I also think so. Maybe on Friday, Nick can pick whatever he wants to do, but because he's going to do a solo live stream, and he's just learning about this right now, if he's still watching, because I haven't told him that my flight is actually leaving before. But anyways, maybe Nick can do a nerdy live react, and you guys can talk about something that's a little bit more positive. But the only person I compare myself is to myself, the person I am / have been versus the person I could be if I keep moving forward. I agree with that. I love that a lot. And even so this morning, full transparency, I did a running workout with my college coach, who is in incredible shape and is 12 years older than me. And he absolutely destroyed me. I was laying on my back trying to catch my breath, and he was just cruising. And there was a moment where I was mad at myself. I was like, oh, I can't believe I can't do this anymore. I can't believe all of these negative thoughts flooded in. And I was comparing myself to myself in the past. And as I was kind of reflecting on that this morning, I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? That's not helpful. Comparing myself to a time in my life where I dedicated 30 hours a week to being a runner isn't fair, because I don't have that much time and it's not my biggest priority anymore. So yeah, even there are times where even comparing yourself to yourself can be a bit exhausting. So make sure to be kind to yourself, because I had to learn that this morning firsthand, because I was pretty negative. Yeah, the dude we were reacting to was tough. I probably could have gone a little bit more tame on the productivity person. I found a couple other ones that were a little bit more just fact based, but I really wanted something that had that shock value. I liked what James said. Perspective is so much of the battle. 100%. Perspective is so tough. We looked the alternative to the Hero's Journal directly in the face today. We saw it and we felt it. And we saw, I think even a lot of us maybe felt times of our lives where we fell into that, and we believed in those particular platitudes, as someone put it earlier. And it was good to kind of remind ourselves that we're all going on a way more positive path now, and it's really cool. I'm trying to catch up with all the comments. Yeah, and as Michelle and Sky put it, things come up that affect the way that your body like moves and works, and understanding that like you are going to have new wins. You're going to have new things that are positive, and not every previous like milestone or marker for a successful day is going to necessarily apply throughout, and we have to adapt to where we're at in our hero's journey and our hero's story. So yeah, I would say that the most important part is, and this is something I hope that the community is able to help in, and that Nick and I can help with either in the live streams or in the Quest workshops, is that we can continue to help people focus on the really incredible things that are coming out of like just taking a moment, taking 5-10 minutes a day to reflect on our lives and think about all the good things, right? Think about what we're grateful for. Think about who our allies are. Think about what are the 3 most important things we can get done that day. Think about what our quest is, our North Star. Like all of these things, I hope are an opportunity daily to think about what we truly like have in our lives and what we can be thankful for, because it's super important. I think that the gratitude on the left side of the page might be the most important part of the Hero's Journal as a whole. But that's just my take. So, yeah, like, if productivity is your only goal, Tanya, I like the way you said that. And we'll only focus on that part of it, right? If productivity is your only goal, right? That's the working for the sake of working. That is that is just grinding with nothing in mind, just sheer output. Whereas I like to see progress. I like to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I like to think about why I'm doing something. And just being productive for the sake of it does not bring me joy. Because it feels like I'm just tiring myself out because I want to be tired, and that doesn't feel good. Ooh, Amy's making a writer's bullet journal. That's kind of fun. This guy just wanted to punch that guy's face. Let's try our best. You know, I know that we are anti-hustle culture. I know that we're anti that. But, you know, he's still a human. He is still a hero in his own right, though does not believe the same things that we necessarily believe. I do think that it is really important to spread positivity where we can. And I by no means meant for this to be like an ad hominem attack on his channel or his platform. I'm sure there are people out there who have gotten value from that, and their lives are better because of that, or else he wouldn't have a 832,000 person subscribed YouTube channel. So I don't want this to be like just an opportunity to like rag on somebody, because that's not really what the Hero's Journal is about. The Hero's Journal is not about ragging on people and spreading hate. We're all about spreading positivity and caring about one another. Even if we think someone's a villain, even if we do, it doesn't help to spread negativity. So, Josh, send me an email. I'm the holder of all the discount codes. I own all of them. Okay, I typed my email in right. Exactly. Even villains have their own shadows. So, right, like I remember this. I remember this vividly in my childhood. I watched the Jimmy Neutron movie on a road trip. We had like the little minivan with the screen, and so little thing, and I was on a road trip. And in the Jimmy Neutron movie, they all go to space, and there's like these blob things that are like floating. I think my memory might be a little bit messed up here, but I remember this. I remember they're like in jail, and they like break out, and they like hit one of the guards, and the guard like falls down and is like completely like like they're immobilized, and they're in danger, right? And then the guard says, with like these really big eyes, and it's like don't leave me here, please, or something like that. And it was very vulnerable and very like sad. And I had a lot of empathy for that guard in that moment. And I remember this. I remember this for like my whole life. It's like though the words are not vivid in my head, like the feeling in my heart is. And I think that even villains require a little bit of, even like the most apparent villains. Like that guy was literally a guard for the enemy who was imprisoning the protagonist. But even then, like I had so much empathy for him in that moment. So, and I try to apply that to my life. I try to apply the fact that a lot of people aren't being villains for the sake of being villains. They truly believe what they're doing is right. So yeah, it's .co, Josh. But yeah, I remember that vividly. And so yeah, I don't want this to be like Kyle from the Heroes Journal ragged on somebody. Like, I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure that like talking to him is enjoyable, and I'm sure that if any of you were to tell him about the quest that you've been on, he'd be very encouraging, because it'd be really, I mean, it's inspiring for anyone to hear. So yeah, that's the tea. Cool. I have a few more minutes. I was late. Does anyone have any questions for me? I really enjoyed Alora's chief discount officer comment. I thought that was pretty funny. I was booking a plane ticket yesterday, and you can put the suffix CEO at the end of your plane ticket. I unfortunately am not the CEO. I'm the COO, so there's no COO suffix. But if you're a CEO out there, and you're buying a plane ticket, you can put that, which is ridiculous. But I don't know. They didn't have MBA, which I was like, okay, you can put your job title, but you can't put MBA on your plane ticket. Seems a bit ridiculous. Seems a bit crazy to me. But alas, Stacy asked a good question. Do we have any IMA updates? We do. And oh, are they exciting. So the journals are still on the ship, but they are at the port. They have not left the ship, but our container was pre-verified by customs. So we already have our customs clearance. So all we need is for them to get off the boat now, and they're going to get picked up and transloaded into a truck with the lift gate and then brought to our house. So we're getting close. It's moving along very well, which is exciting. So I would say it's good news. And Miriam received a journal from us into the Netherlands. So we were able to get all of that figured out as well, which is super cool. So yeah, we have started international shipping, and it's not that bad of an experience. Apparently customs was not that expensive, which is awesome. Oh, I get it. Because COO sounds like coo, which is the noise that a pigeon makes. So that's why being a COO is pigeonholed. I get it. I figured that out. Just now. Okay. Well, the journal's going to arrive tomorrow. Tasty said I was 100% cool, like COOL. I'm not mad about being the COO by chance. I just want my suffix. I want to be able to put that on a plane ticket. That's all I wanted was to put it on a plane ticket. And then Miriam said something about my hat. I lost the hat comment, so I don't really know. I will say this. I am more on the like the shipping side of things. So I don't have as many beans. Nick is like the chief bean officer. He's the CBO. Because he's like the creative side of our business. I'm a lot more like financial side of the business and shipping side of the business. So when Nick's not here, there's not as many beans to share. Because that's more of the, oh, Miriam said my hat looks cool. Thank you. Yeah, I think that I don't know if I have any really great beans. Let's think. Let's see. What can I spill? Got nothing. Yeah, he'll be the chief bean officer, and I'll be the chief. Green officer, the CGO. How about this? He's the CBO, and I'm also the CBO. I'll be the chief bubbles officer. Okay. Yeah, he's the bean spiller, and I'm the bean counter. Is that what you're saying, Denise? Because that's funny, too. That's also really funny, because I am in charge of inventory. Not very good at it, but I am in charge of inventory. Any more info on the side quest cards? Chief Q&A officer, chief discount officer. Obviously, yes, right. Of course, discounts. The side quest deck will hopefully be done and ready. Well, it is done. They're being produced right now. We switched up our provider. We switched our manufacturer. So we are still waiting on those getting done, and they are going to be released in the fall. But they are going to be very similar to the summer side quest. How's everyone liking the summer side quest? We changed up the format. And it seems like people are enjoying it. But like, what do we think? Do we like it? Do we not like it? Do we go back to the old way? I don't know. What do we think? It's fun. Loving the summer side quest. Fall is in September. Okay. People like it. Okay. Cool. I'm glad. We took a little bit of a shot to try something new, and I'm glad that everyone likes it. Because we wanted to we wanted to just like the hard part is that things like Magic Month and Quarantine Quest were such a compelling thing for us to do, but we don't want to just keep like recreating the same things and keep recruiting the same things and just like getting stagnant. So we tried to upgrade it and make it feel more like new and exciting. Sky liked the old one better. The old one had a little bit different art, which I understand, and it was more like a full daily page. And I mean, honestly, one of the reasons we made Quarantine Quest because we didn't have journals at that time or initially, so it was easier to like people didn't have journals to use, so it was nice that it was a full journal page, but we didn't want people to not be able to use their journals and Quarantine Quest, if that makes sense. Oh, thanks, Chris. The hoodie is dope. I'll check if you can. There's also the back too. This is exciting news. We're hopefully going to have forever merch on our website. I think we already told you guys this, but at some point in the near future, we're going to have merch just readily available. So, maybe, Chris, maybe you can get one too. I don't know. Tacey, I saw the pocket. That was pretty cool. Forever merch, right? Just by forever merch, I just mean we're going to have merch on our website in perpetuity. So it's not just going to be only like a pop-up. The problem with that is that we are going to have, whereas we were able to do, like when you do a pre-order, we're able to order the exact amount of things that were ordered. So this time we had to order a smaller size run, like just less sizes, because, in general. So there will be a little bit less availability, like on the different ends, and we only have one of the women's cut shirts now, in that magenta color, because the men's, like the unisex style shirts did sell better. So there's not quite as many options per se, but it'll be really cool still. My hat started to fade on my 5K mile road trip. Driver's side fade. Oh, whoa, that's crazy. Like it just it got a little lighter on one side. Well, I think the largest size we're doing is 3X. Unisex is how you get more horses with horns. I don't understand that at all, unless you're talking about unicorns, because you're talking about unicorn sex, which is interesting. Yellowing on the left side. We are actually talking to them about getting different hats for that being one of the reasons. Yeah, you guys are seeing how slow I am sometimes to figure out jokes. But yeah. Well, you guys did it. Some of you have made it through 2 solo Kyle live streams, which I give you a ton of credit for. That's not an easy task. Josh, soon on the merch. We don't have it quite up yet. It was a May thing, and now we're back. It's sold out right now. Sorry, I did say something else NSFW, so my bad on that one. I should have given a warning. Anyways, some of you have seen me chat and ramble for a total of 2.5 hours now. Thank you so much for kind of hanging out with me and watching watching some of the more cringeworthy productivity content that's out there, but also just landing it in the fact that you are all heroes, that you are all capable of doing incredible things, and that positivity will always be more important than any negative and shame-based narrative that we tell ourselves, or people try to tell us about ourselves. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the journey. It's not about the destination. Thank you all, and I will be speaking with you guys tomorrow night at the Quest Workshop, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you can't make that, then you'll be chatting with Nick on Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're all going to live a heroic week. So